So imagine you are driving, say, like 60 miles an hour down the highway. A deer jumps out. You slam on the brakes, but what if your brake pedal wasn't physically connected to your tires at all?
Right, like it's just a digital signal.
Exactly. What if instead of pushing a mechanical lever, your pedal was essentially just sending like a Wi-Fi signal to a computer? Welcome to today's deep dive. We are exploring a radical sci-fi upgrade to a 100-year-old driving steeple.
Yeah, we're looking at Brembo's Sensify technology today. And, what's fascinating here is that it really is a massive paradigm shift. I mean, for over a century, braking has been this purely mechanical hydraulic process.
Right. You push a pedal, fluid gets forced through metal tubes, and brake pads squeeze a disc. We take it entirely for granted,
We really do. But Sensify eliminates that hydraulic fluid entirely.
which is wild. It is essentially like upgrading from a clunky physical typewriter where you're mechanically striking a ribbon to a smart touchscreen keyboard.
Oh, that's a great way to put it.
But, with the added pressure that this touchscreen has to safely stop a 4,000-pound piece of metal, you're no longer manually pushing fluid. You're just communicating your intention to slow down.
Right. You're just asking the car to stop.
Okay, but let's unpack this right away because I have a very relatable fear here. If my laptop software crashes, it's annoying, right? I lose a document.
Sure, you just reboot it.
Yeah, but if my car's software crashes at 60 miles per hour, that is terrifying. I mean, I do not want my brakes giving me a spinning wheel of death.
Oh, absolutely. That is the crucial question, right?
Mhm.
How can an electronic brake actually be safer than a traditional mechanical one? And it comes down to total redundancy.
Okay, so backup system.
Exactly. Traditional hydraulic brakes rely on a single circuit. If a tube bursts and you lose fluid, you lose your braking power. But Sensify uses dual intelligence hardware.
So that means multiple control units are constantly monitoring the system?
You got it. If the primary control unit fails, a secondary backup instantly takes over. Plus, it performs active self-diagnosis.
Wait, so it's basically checking its own pulse like 1,000 times a second and predicting a failure before it even happens.
Precisely. And if it senses an issue, it compensates instantly. If one wheel system has an issue, it reroutes power to the others. But here's where we get to the actual mechanics. Since there's no fluid, Sensify uses independent electric actuators on each wheel to do the heavy lifting.
Okay, actuator is a great engineering word, but what does that actually look like? Like, what is physically squeezing the brake pad if there's no fluid pushing it?
Well, instead of fluid pushing a piston, think of a powerful little electric motor sitting right on the
Oh,
wheel.
just a little motor right there.
Yeah. When the computer sends the signal, that motor instantly turns a screw that violently clamps the brake pads together in milliseconds.
Wow, and because each wheel has its own motor, they operate completely independently, which makes sense because road grip is rarely identical on all four tires.
Right. So say you hit a patch of ice or like wet leaves on just one side. Sensify adjusts the braking force for each tire individually.
Which maximizes your traction.
Exactly. And it prevents understeering. You know, that terrifying moment when you turn the steering wheel in a tight corner, but the car just
Just keeps plowing straight ahead, yeah. I hate that feeling. And it probably gets rid of that awful mechanical clatter you feel in the pedal when traditional ABS kicks in, right?
Oh, completely.
Because that shudder always makes you think you just broke something.
It totally eliminates it. The computer handles the micro adjustments at the wheel without sending any violent feedback up to your foot.
Because the system is entirely digital and controlled by a computer, I'd imagine that opens up a massive opportunity for electric vehicles. I mean, if the brake pedal is just software, it can finally talk seamlessly to the EV's electric motor.
Spot on. That's the real game changer here for EVs. Electric cars use regenerative braking to recharge the battery when you lift off the accelerator, right?
Right, they kind of slow themselves down.
But for heavier stops, they still need physical brake pads. And historically, the handoff between the EV's regenerative braking and the physical pads biting the disc has been really clunky.
Yeah, because it's a physical fight between the electric motor trying to slow the car and hydraulic fluid suddenly rushing in to clamp the brakes. You can almost always feel that exact moment it switches over.
Exactly. Sensify fixes this by letting the computer digitally blend the motor's resistance and the electric actuators at the wheels.
So it just smooths out that whole transition.
Completely. You feel absolutely nothing but a seamless, steady stop.
Okay, here's the aha moment that really gets me. This isn't just a shiny concept prototype sitting on a rotating stage at an auto show.
No, not at all.
Sensify is already in mass production. Brembo is supplying hundreds of thousands of units a year for a major global manufacturer, adapting to everything from city cars to fully autonomous vehicles.
It takes the inherent risks of boiling brake fluid and corroded metal tubes out of the equation entirely.
It is incredibly clever, and I'm so pleased we got to learn how this works today. It's always a pleasure to explore these breakthroughs with you. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive, everyone.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
Next time you're stuck in traffic, hitting that clunky mechanical pedal, I want to leave you with this idea to mull over. If a century-old, purely mechanical staple like the brake pedal can be quietly reimagined as an intelligent, self-diagnosing ecosystem, what other simple mechanical devices in your everyday life are about to quietly become self-aware?